There, I got rid of that now. Okay, got your pretty faces on there. Alright. Okay, we're going to start the meeting. First things we're going to start with tonight. We're going to go down and get the approval of the bills, and we're going to get the treasurer's report in. Okay?
Roll call.
Roll call, yes.
Julie.
Francis? That's all it said.
Myself and Lisa's on phone.
And Lisa's on phone. She's here. Okay. And if you got a thing and want to look over the bills, if you have any questions of the bills?
I had, on the UPMC health insurance, is Patrick off our insurance now?
Yes, he is.
Yep.
Okay, and who has signing ability on the credit cards?
There's only me and Justin at the time.
Okay, thank you.
And I just signed for the bank.
No, that was the bank,
Yeah,
the bank
bank.
trust.
Okay. Any other questions on the bills? Okay. All right, you want to tell us about the
The
treasurer's
bills,
report?
no, the bills, you gotta
We
give a
gotta-
motion to approve the bills at an amount of $22,923.63. I need a motion in
I
there.
make a motion to approve the bills?
I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Treasurer's report, want to read that off?
Treasurer's report, the beginning balance as of 7/31/2021 was $78,226.97. Total deposits was $15,896.84. The bills were $22,923.63, and there was an NSF fee of $15. The balance in the checking account is 8/31 is $71,185.18. Balance in the savings account is 7/31/2021 was $256,335.08. The balance in the savings account as of 8/31 was $256,345.97.
Okay. Now, I'm gonna go right into the consent order. We have to get that signed tonight and sent back so we get that started and get our timelines. So I need a motion to sign for the consent order.
I'll make a motion to sign for the consent order.
Yes.
You can't give us a brief
Brief.
overview of what this consent order is and how it
The
happened?
consent
and
order-
What's in it, and, because
Well, the only thing that
the
changed,
only thing that we ever heard was, we'll tell you in the future, we'll tell you in the future. Nobody ever really told us.
Really, I'll let you explain to her how much is in it.
All right,
We don't think it's that
Just
bad.
brief, just brief.
just briefly, let me go through on what we've got to do to correct it, which is probably the best way to do it.
Yes.
The first thing is the operator transfer, which is done. The second thing is the log reduction, which applies to the contact time with the chlorine in the system. You have to have a log reduction of at least one on the bacteria and the algae content in your water, okay? So we have to send in records of that daily, which the computer does already, the SCADA system does already, so all we've got to do is transfer that to an Excel file and send it to them. The third thing on there was
You need to look at this, Dennis.
You don't have to be that particular.
all right, you got it?
Yeah.
They'll go quick. The first probably 6 or 7 is all paperwork, but I'll go through them with you.
Paperwork.
Action items, that's what we want. No, the login activation is the second one. The third one is the calibration. It's called a method 334 from EPA on calibrating their chlorine analyzer and certifying the operators that they can do that test. That's done. That's done. The next one is we've got to test the shutdowns, the alarms and the shutdowns. We have a question on that, whether we can send them our alarm records to show when the chlorine quit feeding and the plant shut off, or if the turbidity went too high on the filters and the plant shut off. They want to make sure that the alarms shut down the plant. And we want to know if we can use our alarm records that are on the computer, or do we have to do it manually and record that for them? We talked about it today, we can do it manually. We can do it
This
manually.
is proof they want of what happened?
What's that?
Is this proof they want of what happened?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
I'm not sure what the violation was
Okay.
that provoked that.
Okay.
It was probably on a general inspection, and went down through the list. And I help another plant operate, and they come in and do the same thing. So your
Right.
alarm system's working, how do we know?
Yeah.
Because that happened here a
Written
long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
When the engineering firms were in here running it, somebody shut the flow off to the turbidimeter so that the numbers wouldn't change, and they shut the alarms off. So if the chlorine went off for a day, nobody would know. The alarm wouldn't notify anybody. So DEP wants them tested and make sure that they work, that there's communication between the two. A public education program on lead and copper, which we did when I was here 5 years ago. We started off with the elementary school, giving them brochures, and we talked about putting some flyers up. And I said, why don't we make a public notification on the phones and say, we're required by the consent to distribute or inform people about the lead and copper issues in water. Tell them a little bit about it and say there's going to be brochures available in the post office, Valley Farms, the pharmacy, and the water office.
Yeah, but people always can't pick them up. Why can't you mail every user a letter?
Well, how many customers?
700, almost 700.
It doesn't
700.
make any difference.
Well,
I mean, people aren't, you know how it is on the phone. They're not gonna,
Yeah, they'll
folks
hang
aren't
up.
gonna understand, and some,
People don't answer that.
they don't go to the pharmacy, they're not gonna see it.
That could probably
Why
be
can't,
discussed.
it's,
yeah.
don't you think it's important enough to send every user a letter?
Okay, we'll talk to DEP about that. If that's
You
required,
really
we'll
think
do
you
it.
have to ask them?
They have to ask them everything. They want to know everything you do.
No, but I mean, don't you feel yourself it would be better to send letters to everybody?
Well, we thought that we could get a hold of most of the people in town through this. And we give the elementary school kids stuff to take home with them, to make sure that they show their parents and grandparents.
Well, we can discuss that later and how the board feels about it, and then maybe send a letter to
I
everybody.
think sending a
and
letter would fulfill
And-
DEP's regulation on
Yeah,
public education.
You could do that.
something.
It
like
would.
that.
I know it's expensive, but
Yeah. All right.
we'll talk
We'll
about
talk.
it. We'll talk about it,
We won't
okay.
put
The next one is the filter bid evaluation plan. We have to go through each of the filters. We have to send them information on turbidities, on after they're washed, and before that we have to backwash them. We have to take measurements of the media inside the tanks. We have to take samples, get the samples analyzed. And I wrote up the procedures to do both of that. No, that's done. The procedure's done, or the write-up on the instructions on how to do it is done. We just have to do it.
Oh, that's good.
You guys have been busy.
A lot of it's the plan. They have the plan and the schedule when you're gonna do these
Yeah.
things. They want us to track chemical usage. This has nothing to do with the violation.
Okay,
This is what their bandwagon is now, all this little stuff on the plan.
okay.
We have to keep track of which chemicals we feed each day and how much chemicals we feed each day, so we can track if the pumps are working or if they're not overfeeding or underfeeding. Operation and maintenance plan, they want it updated. It's already done. Annual report by December 1st, we already do. We usually send that in every year anyway. SOP, standard operating procedures, that's already done. We have to upgrade. Because last time it was looked at was in like I think 17 or 15. So we have to look through there, see if there's names changed, chemicals changed, whatever. We have to go through that. A corrosion control treatment compliance plan, the engineer will do. They did that in 17, 15, I think they did it. on last time we violated the lead and copper limits on the water. The engineering firm had to do a corrosion control feasibility study. So they talked to Needville about that today.
What does that entail, Dennis? What
What's
does the feasibility study, how does that work?
Well, they give scenarios in there on whether there's lead and copper out in the system.
Lisa, you still on?
I'm still here.
Okay.
All right.
We're hurrying it
Yeah,
up.
we give different scenarios on different combinations of whether there's lead and copper out in the system, how we would, what we would use to protect the public from that, what kind of chemicals we would use, whether it's increasing pH, adding phosphate, or increasing the phosphate feed out in the system, and how we would check it. So it's a feasibility study through.
Okay, and is that something you're gonna do in-house, or is
No,
that
that's
something?
gonna, the engineering company already did that. They did that in 15, and they asked DEP how much of that would apply now.
And?
Well, they didn't get, they called today.
Oh, they called
They
today,
talked to
okay,
Lisa
okay.
Blockman up there.
Okay, so, okay.
What was the plan you said by October 1st? What was that?
Which one?
You said there was a deadline October 1st. What was that for?
The
Some
education,
plan.
the education plan.
The education plan was by October 1st.
And then once this is signed, will people be able then to get a copy, or?
Yes, not till next week.
Not
Well, we've
until
gotta
I
do
contact
a-
my lawyer,
We've got to
And
do an
get that.
analysis on water
sign
quality
copy and everything, because DEP.
from
didn't
all of
sign
the
it.
sources, which was done before, so we're just going to do it again. The well, when we have the well on, we have to wait till the whole system has well water, take a sample of it, and do pH, alkalinity, iron, manganese, aluminum, conductivity, and temperature. And then when we go to the streams, when we put burns online, we have to let burn through the whole system and sample for those one spot. One spot. All right. When we put Corrosion, we'll have to wait till that goes through the whole system. It's going to take probably 2 weeks to get it through the system. Take water samples, and then when we do burns and Corrosion both together, we have to wait till that gets in the system, do that analysis, and when we use Corrosion and the well at the same time, that's another water quality. Then we'll know what that's like out in the system. So that's probably where the costs are going to come in on this, is the sampling for that, and also we're going to have to redo the lead and copper samples at least twice a year. So that's going to cost money. The rest is
For their instruction,
yes.
yes.
Yeah, we're gonna, well, they'll let us set up the timetable on when we want to do it, and if they want it sooner, they'll let us know. They're not gonna give us the exact day, but
Yeah.
they're gonna say, we want it in this quarter, or 2 quarters, or twice a year, or quarterly. They'll make that determination.
Is that the one where you sample 10 or more homes?
20 houses, we give the consumer the bottle with instructions, and we tell them how to do it the next morning. The water has to be off all night. They take the first draw in the morning in the bottle, fill the bottle up, and then we collect it in the morning. So it's the consumer's responsibility to take the sample. We don't touch the sample.
And
They
get it
fill
to
the bottle
right
up,
line.
we take it and send it to the lab. The rest of it is one round, first round of 6-month lead and copper, the second round, so it's twice a year. Within 30 days after the second one, they want to follow up on a meeting with DEP. First round of reduced lead and copper monitoring will be from June 1st through, you get a sample through from June 1st to September 30th. Second round from September 30th. That's a repeat, so it can't be the first and second round. We'll call them on that. Within 30 days of receipt of each lead and copper follow-up and the results, you've got to notify each consumer, the consumers in the system, plus the people that you sampled, they have to be notified when you get the results on what the lead was in their house. That's
Is that all
about it.
that?
The rest of it talks
Oh, yeah, I
about,
was-
penalties shall be applied monthly if you don't follow all their instructions, etc. So
How much?
that's really the
Okay.
basis of what's gotta be done in this consent order.
Okay.
And like I said, the first half of it is just paperwork.
And that's
most
the
of it's done.
revised consent order, correct? Some
What's that?
things were taken away.
Yes. Well, there was 2 paragraphs taken out at the beginning. There were, how do we say, there were accusations of actions taken by an employee
Right.
on the sampling of lead and copper. And after their attorneys talked to his attorneys, it was taken out. Why it was taken out, I'm not sure. I can't
That's
I
a
can't
different
give you
ballgame.
reasons why they were taken out, whether they couldn't prove it, or it was he said, or one hold up, or whatever, I don't know. So,
Okay. All right.
that's what we have to do. That's what we
Yeah.
have to do. And I talked to the attorney in Meadville twice, once last week, and then I saw Julie a couple days after that, and then she called me again Monday and talked about the consent order. And I told her on the phone, I said, listen, I've got like the first 6 things done. There's 2 in there I have a real question on that were due in September 1st. This was like Monday. I said, these 2 are due in September. I have a question about these. I don't think these apply. So she says, well, I'll look into that. And then I said, look, they have a meeting on Thursday. I'm going to the meeting, and I'm not leaving the meeting until they sign this consent order. Because I know you're not going to change it,
No, you're not.
okay? Well, she says, well, I'll at least give you that extension on those 2 items till October 1st.
The
I
lawyer
didn't even
said,
ask for it.
the
I
lawyer
didn't
said
even
that?
ask for it. She said, we'll just extend that one up, because
Oh.
it's due on
Oh,
Wednesday.
DEP said that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
DEP said that. DEP's attorney said that.
Oh, DEP's attorney.
DEP's
Oh,
attorney said that.
Okay.
Because it was a question as to whether it really applies to us or not.
Yeah.
It was due in 2 days. She says, we'll extend
Oh.
that till October 1st.
That was good.
So,
All right.
that was my discussion with the attorney twice, once last week and once this week, early this week.
You're gonna go on vacation after all this, aren't you?
It won't come too soon.
He always goes
Um,
on vacation after he finishes with us.
We're going away the end of November, if I can hang around till November, the end of November. We're going to Hawaii for 10
I
days.
was gonna say Hawaii, that's where you went last time you finished with us.
Yeah, we go every other year.
Okay.
So was there any water at all bad that anybody drank?
No. We took samples.
At least since you've got here.
So that's okay. I mean,
Yeah.
So-
No, there was nothing.
I thought there was water that had lead and copper in it. But
Yeah.
Whatever.
But that comes from your
There was
house.
Yeah.
two
You know, the house-
two houses that showed elevated levels of lead and copper.
Okay.
But besides that, nothing else showed. The bacteria samples have always been good.
All right.
And
Well, that was in the water quality report that you give each year.
right, yes,
About the 2 homes.
yeah,
If people read it, that was in there.
right, yeah. I mean, it's usually 1, sometimes it's 2.
Well,
One were safe, 2 were in violation of the 10%, the 90th percentile
Right,
in compliance. If you have 2, it throws you out.
okay.
So,
Well, I'm a little confused about that actually, because if one person's water tests over the limit for lead, and that house always fails, when that house is good, does that mean everybody else is good? Or does her
It's
failure...
usually the pipes.
It's the pipe.
I know, but we're
Yeah,
only
it would-
taking 20 samples and there's lots of old houses. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
If the water is too acidic and the lead leaches into the water in one house, how do we know that it doesn't leach in other people's houses that we're not testing? That's my question.
In some cases,
to answer your question, the only way you're gonna test for everybody's house is to test everybody's house, and that's gonna get really pricey.
Well, I understand that.
In some instances, say you have Dennis's house that's always hitting lead and copper every time you sample it, no matter what you do. It sounds weird and it sounds crazy, but it's true. He could have a short in his electric that's backfeeding through his lines, which would indicate a problem with the water, and in reality, the water itself is perfectly fine, the pipes are fine, but he has electrical current going to the water, that's why it's doing that on the lead and copper.
The other instance, I talked to DEP about this.
Okay.
I said, you know, if we've got not to pick on you, Linda.
Yeah. Not to mention any names,
You
Linda.
know, if we have one house
Find me a
that's
plumber.
always over the limit, you know, can't we change and try to find somebody else's house? And no, so they said they want the worst scenario. They want the worst houses that you can find to test. If they're okay, then the rest of them should be all right.
Okay,
So
that was my
that's kind of
question,
what-
really.
That's kind of what you look for. You try to look for the older houses.
Right.
So they have different tiers as to what kind of piping they have and how old the piping is. So
66.
Linda, did the person that had the
In
letter,
case anybody's wondering, mine's,
okay, I'm sorry. Did yours ever pass?
what?
Did your house ever
Yes,
pass?
it did.
Okay, well, then if it did pass, there is a way to prevent your lead from leaching in, correct?
Well, I don't know, it was over this last time, and I bought some of those things from Lowe's. You put them on, you crack them and
Yeah.
shake them and
Yeah.
put them on your pipes, and it was mostly the joints, not the actual metal pipe.
Well, sure,
It
that's
was in
lead
the
solder.
solder,
Yeah.
It was,
the solder.
Solder
but
coming
it's
in.
not in the copper, it's right in the bigger pipes coming into the house where the water's
Yeah.
coming in.
Well, I'm just trying to make sure that if one person fails, that a whole bunch of people aren't failing
All
and
right.
you don't know it, that's all.
Let's get this vote on
Yeah, they don't like you to change houses.
before we.
Gotcha.
I need a vote for the consent form. I need a motion. Do I hear a motion for the consent form?
I make a motion that we sign the consent form.
Okay. I second the vote to sign the consent form. We need one more vote.
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
Did you get that?
Yes,
Yep.
we did.
Okay, go
You
vote
didn't
these now.
actually vote. You
Okay.
made a motion, you
Yep,
seconded
we're
it.
all in
You didn't
favor?
ask for the vote.
Aye.
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 There we go. All in favor.
Okay, we will sign this
Okay,
consent
We will
form.
sign that and get that sent out.
Okay.
And one thing I want to say before we go. This is our new guy here, so if anybody wants to see him, I'll put him on camera so you can look at his pretty face on TV.
Donovan Allen.
Donovan Allen,
Donovan Allen.
our new guy.
A-L-L or E-L-L?
Hey,
ALLEN.
All right. And Justin, he has passed parts of his test now, so that's very good.
Yeah, he passed his distribution license. He passed that one in the general.
It's legitimate.
He's got to pass a couple subclasses.
He's,
So distribution is an A, B, or C?
Well, he took the test, he took all those subclass tests, so now he knows what's on it.
okay, I just
So
need a
he says,
motion to adjourn because Lisa wants to
You gotta help
go.
me brush up on
Just a minute.
Okay, what? She wants to go.
I've been hearing some things. Could you officially say if you got letters from members and who resigned? What's the status?
Yes, we have 3 that resigned.
Did they send you a letter?
Yes. They all 3 sent us a letter. So we're gonna send them down to the supervisors so they can put it on their agenda at their meeting to get us a board member. Otherwise, if we don't have a board member, an extra one, we're not gonna be able to have a meeting next month. 'Cause
They
we're
have
gonna
to be
have to-
addressed to the J Township
Yes,
supervisors.
and 10 days before their meeting.
But they're not addressed then, I don't think, to the J Township
No,
supervisors.
no, but,
So they'll have to do them over.
well, they're not coming back, so we still need board members. I don't, you know.
Yeah, well, I'm
Well-
just saying, you can let them know they're.
Yes, she will do that this week.
They're not legitimately official.
Yeah, but she will send them
Funny
down
they didn't
there.
go to the township, that's where they went to get on the board.
Yeah,
I don't know,
Might
Alex,
be a little game.
I'm not arguing the point. I'm not
Right, no,
arguing
I'm
the
just
point.
saying,
It
they should've
is,
known better.
it is what it is.
yeah, they should have known better.
Well, why don't you send the supervisors copies, and you keep those for your
I will keep the
file.
copies, I will send them, I'll scan them into the computer, and I will send them out maybe even tonight, before I
Or
leave.
perhaps call them and say they need to redo them and send them to the supervisors.
All right,
That's the way it should be.
anything
Are
else
you
before I
gonna-
join?
You as a board can make recommendations to the supervisors if there's someone you think you would like to
Well-
have on the board.
We will do our part to try to get somebody on here, so the next meeting we have another person sitting here. Hopefully we have 2 other people. That's,
How many can you have on a board?
There's 5.
5 of us. So we need at least 3.
Are you on the board?
No, I'm
No,
not. I'm
she's just a
secretary.
secretary. Okay, I'm gonna join this meeting so Lisa can go. Thank you, Lisa.
You're welcome, Fran. Have a good
Okay,
evening.
you too,
Thanks,
thank
Lisa.
you.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, I'm gonna just turn.
Okay, we're all adjourned